Welcome back, everyone. This is Jeff again. Today we're going to disassemble some of this engine because we're going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take these airboxes off and the throttle bodies, and to get this structure out here, this A-frame I call it, structure out of here. So to do that, the airbox has got to come off, the plenum's got to come out, and then these lines have to be moved around and disconnected. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to make it a lot easier to change the gaskets with that structure out than with it in there. Just like I said, it's just clearance issues and that. So to make the job a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this coolant tank out of here. There's 4 number 10 millimeter nuts on that, and then I've taken the line off here. I'm just going to set this over here for right now, and then we'll just let that, we won't have to disconnect it anymore. But we're going to go ahead and take this tank off, and then there's a couple lines underneath there we'll disconnect at this time. So then the next thing that we're going to do is disconnect these 2 lines right here, and then take those off. Alright, and don't forget to disconnect your bottom tube here. I'm leaking some coolant, so don't forget to take the big line off here on the bottom. And then we've got all the lines disconnected now, so we're going to go ahead and take these air boxes off next. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do is take these 4 screws out on each upper plenum, or the air cleaner here. So take those out, unsnap these, and then this should come right off. It might be, the seal might be stuck on there, so but it should come right off. Same thing over here. Take these 4 screws out, and then unsnap those, and it should come right off. Like I said, they may be stuck. The seals sometimes stick once they get hot. Alright, so it looks like I got the top of the air cleaner off now. Here's the air filters. Looks like they're using K&Ns. We're going to go ahead and take these out and then put in the factory air filters in them. So we're going to, like I said, take these out, and then we've got new air filters that we're going to install. So when we go back together, we'll put those in. So we're going to take these out right now. And then the next thing we're going to work on is getting this air box out of here. All right. Thing to get this out of here, you got to take, there's a screw here, and there's another one over here. These are 10s, and then you got some screws in the front that we've already removed. There's like 4 here, and then there's some lines here. You got some lines that run across here that have some clamps, so just kind of pay attention where they go. Try not to break these. These are kind of fragile. And then once you get those nuts all off, they're all 10s. This air box should come out. It is connected on this side with a boot, so be careful. Alright, so we've got the air box removed, as you can see here. Like I said, there's your clamps for your lines, your pneumatic lines and that. And then here's the boot on the end. So it fits up there. There's a connection, an air inlet connection that hooks to. So now we're going to go ahead and take this, start working on the structure here, and see how that goes. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to disconnect these 2 lines here, pull these lines off, pull these out of here, and just kind of lay them in here. And then we're going to take these number 10s here. There's 2 on this side, 2 on this side, these brackets, separate those. And then we're going to take, I think these are like 6s, take 4 of these out on each side, and then you got 4 up front. We'll disconnect. We may have to take the fuel line loose there on the side, on each side. We'll see. We'll try to pull this aft, so may be able to keep the throttle bodies on there. We'll see how this goes. I know the spider's a little different, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can not disconnect the throttle bodies at this time. Disconnected those 2 lines now. Also, we're going to have to take this structure out of here. There's a screw here and there's one here, and then there's a couple screws underneath that'll have to come out, and then this brace will come out. So there's like one on top, two on the bottom, two on the bottom, one on top. So we're going to go ahead and take those out. Those are Allen's. We'll go ahead and take that loose next, and then we'll try to take the structure here, the bolts on the sides here. There's 4 over here, 4 over there. There's actually a clamp down here that needs to come off, and then I see there's another one here that needs to come off, and then there's a clamp here that holds these hydraulic lines from underneath. They're 10s too. They need to come off. You got to take this bracket off here. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect all that stuff. So we've got this structure removed. Like I said, there's 2 screws on the top here, 4 on the bottom, 2 on this side, 2 on that side. And like I said, there's the brackets right there that it hooks to. So yeah, this needs to come out. So these are all number 6s here. The shorter screws go up in front, the longer ones are in back here. You can see these are really long. So yeah, these go in the back. The shorter screws go up front. All right. Go ahead and take these out. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And like I said, you're going to take these 4 bolts. Those are 6s also on both sides. Also, for you to mention that while I'm pulling that structure out, that kind of supports the transmission and that's part of the rear mount. So I would probably support the transmission back here, or the transaxle. All right, yeah, just make sure it's supported before you pull that out of there. Once you get all your bolts around the perimeter here out on both sides and in the front, you've got this 22mm bolt here for your transmission. Like I said, support your transmission. So this needs to come out. Sometimes this bolt on some of the newer cars, this is on an eccentric, so you can turn this and it moves that up and down. I've noticed on some of the older cars that isn't so, but if it is, just kind of mark it where it's at. Other than that, it doesn't matter. So we're going to go ahead and take this one out, and then that structure should be free. All right, so we've got that structure out of there. It was kind of a pain. You probably should remove both of these sides also. I just removed the one, and I kind of tilted it and got it out of there. But if you really make it easier, probably take both these side panels off. But now that I've got that out of there, you can see how accessible the valve covers are. So we're going to go ahead and try to get those out of there and get them cleaned up, put some new seals on them. And then while we're out, we're going to check the timing marks. I'll show you there's timing marks on the cams that you can see when the valve cover is off. I'll show you those. There's a cam position sensor that has to come off up on front. So that had to come off on both sides. And then this breather tube, there's a breather tube on both sides. That's going to have to come off, which connects to the throttle body. So it also goes to the tank here, your oil tank. So should be able to get those off without taking the throttle bodies off. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and proceed on and try to get those valve covers off. I want to make a note here. This breather line here on the top here, this is not a nut, okay? You can use a wrench on it to hold it, but what you actually turn is the bottom piece. The bottom piece is what turns. The top piece is fixed. I know it's kind of strange, but yeah, if you try to turn this, you'll break this line. So the bottom is the only piece that turns, all right? So you'll have to turn it, and then this will back out. So you can hold it with a wrench, but yeah, that doesn't turn. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and take that off. And then while we've got the structure out, we'll go ahead and change the oil filter, because oil filter is underneath that structure also. So the oil filter is right there. So we're going to go ahead and change that out while we're here, because we drained the oil the other day, but we were waiting on a filter. So we've got the filter now. We're going to go ahead and we'll change that out too. You can see here, I broke it loose just now, and you can see how when I turn this, it's backing that line up. Okay, it's pushing the line up. Alright, up, right light. But anyway, that's how that works. Like I said, you may have to hold it with another wrench, but so you don't twist that. But yeah, that's how you get that out of there. Just keep on twisting and it'll eventually come off. Alright. Now I think I can see it kind of jumping on the thread there. So I think it's all the way out. Yeah, I believe it is. Alright, same on the other side, alright? Alright, so I've got the line disconnected on the driver's side, as you can see here. And it crosses over to the right valve cover. And then it also connects here to this oil chamber here, where you service the oil. So it's on the right hand side. Take that clamp loose and take it off, and then you'll be able to take that pipe out of there. Alright? Now that we have our line out of the way, like I said, it hooks to your oil reservoir right here on the right hand side. We can start taking those nuts off for the valve covers, and then you got to take up that cam sensor too. That has to come off, and then take the nuts off, and then we'll be able to take the valve covers off. And that'll expose the cams, okay? Like I said, same thing on this side. Like I said, just make sure your rags are still in there. And then once we take the valve covers off, we'll have to transfer those. So, like I said, you don't want any debris falling down in there. Like I said, you have another cam position sensor up there on the forward left. That has to come out. So, we're going to go ahead and continue to do that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the valve covers off. Those are 10 millimeters, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and take those off. Like I said, you have two cam position sensors on there also up front on both sides. Those have to come off. And other than that, I guess we're ready. And oh, there's a couple harnesses up front also. So we're going to go ahead and proceed and do that.
What did you get parts-wise?
Right there's all the boxes.
You didn't get that part?
No, not yet. I haven't got that filter screen or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not trying.
No, the only thing I can put is I can put the oil filter on.
Yeah.
You know, put the belts on, and then we could probably put the bumper back on.
That's fine.
Know. But I'm just going to film this here. So we've got the valve cover off. We removed the fuel rail. There's two Allen keys there, like they're
Little hex
for like a 6 maybe. Remove that to get access to the upper gasket. You can see the gasket's still on there. So we're going to take a plastic scraper, remove that. The bottom came off. We've got our holes plugged. Like I said earlier, you want to make sure nothing goes down in the cylinders. Really, in here, you want to be careful not to let most of that gas material not to drop in there either. Also, you can see the timing marks better. We'll line them up. When we get this ready, you can see the timing marks here. They're not lined up on the cams because it's not on top dead center. But I'll show you that once we get to there. Same on the front here. There's actually timing marks on the casting up here. You really can't see it on both sides. They're like at the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock position. So we'll check that out when we get on top dead center, see if there's anything that lines up with that. But we're going to go ahead and clean this gasket up right now and proceed on. All right, so we've got our engine on #1 cylinder compression, top dead center right now. As you can see here, we're on a compression stroke. The piston on the #1 is the top dead center. And we took the valve covers off. We've got that all cleaned up. I made some marks the other day when Mark was not here. Mark's here today to help me change the belts. So let me get a flashlight here, and I will show you some timing marks. All right, so like I said, don't trust anybody else's marks. trust your marks. So I made some marks the other day. The black here, I made this. This is a reference, okay? Same on the driver's side, the black mark there. The factory marks actually on the inboard, on your intake gears are correct. They're right here, which should line up with the cover. Same thing on this side, it lines up with the cover. But you can't really trust this green mark always either, because these gears can be moved, they can be taken off, positioned anywhere pretty much, and it'd still be in time, but the marks won't be true. So what you really want to rely on, your top dead center on a piston, like I said over here, compression. All right, so like I said, we're on top dead center right there, compression. But you can really see now, since I've taken the valve covers off, you can see the timing marks there. See the case here, and then the mark on the cam. Same here, and right there. Sometimes they're horrible marks. Somebody takes like a scribe and they scribe those on there from the factory. They're never straight. So that one there, it's on, and I can show you up front too. There's a mark there on that case. I'd point to it, but I can't get the camera and my pointer and hold the flashlight out at the same time.
You want me to do something, John?
And there's actually a mark on the cam right below that. So that's lined up too. Same thing on the other cam. All right, so that's how you know you're on top dead center. We'll go on the other side too. Here, you hold the light.
Hold the light, you want to point with this?
Yeah, do that. Hold the light and I'll do that. Okay. So, like right back here, we'll show you the back here again. So, here's your case. You mark on the case, and here's your cam. See that lines up? Same thing on this one here. And like I said, the scribe lines suck. The case, you can see the scribe line here, okay? You're also, like I said, up front. This is going to be difficult to see. This harness is in the way. But you got a scribe line right here. Right there. Yep. All right, and then there's a mark right here on the cam. All right, it's going to be difficult to see. The cam's going to mark here. Same thing on the bottom. It's mark right here, and on the cam also. See that? Those should line up. Now, see, we're at an angle, so you're going to say, hey, you might look off a little bit, but we're at a parallax. Okay, a parallax means you're not straight on. You're going to get an effect where it may look off, but we're not dead center on with our eyes. So it may look deceiving, but they are lined up, okay? So at this point, we're going to go ahead and lock the cams with the vice grips, which is the tool that Ferrari uses, and we're going to change the belts, all right?
Okay.
We're all set up here. We've got it top dead center. We've got our vice grips, or Ferrari tools in there. So we're getting ready to break. We're going to break one side at a time, okay? So this is a 17 millimeter. I'll have to tell you the torque here in a minute. So we're going to break that loose. We're going to get our tool, which I got to get yet, to rotate this tensioner bearing. And then once we do that, I'm going to slide this pin in here, and we're going to capture that. All right? It doesn't slide in there yet, but we're going to get that to the point where I can put this pin all the way through, and then we're going to take the bearing out. So let me go get that tool, and we'll start doing that. All right, I've got this captured, okay? If you're changing these, they'll come with pinned, they'll come pinned, all right? We're not, we're going to use these over. And you don't need to change these. If you figure out that they're bad, change them. Ours, it's got tension on it, so we're going to keep them. So we're going to go ahead and take this bolt out here. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and then carefully take our belt off.
Hold on, I got it.
All right, there's our old belt. We'll have to get a new one here.
is good there. That's gonna go there. Okay, good. We'll have to figure it out.
And then a lot of times what you might want to do here is I've got some clamps here.
Let's tighten this one side up though.
So we'll put a clamp on top on here so they don't jump. So take that. We'll get the slack out of here, and then we'll.
I think it's the other way. You want to take the slack out of this side, right?
Well, yeah. Then we'll wrap it around, and then this.
Yeah.
We'll play with the slack on that side. So that looks good. So now we'll try to jump that teeth, those in the bottom there. Try to jump that. Or we can do the top.
Either way, we'll get it.
All right, so we've got our belt. It's a preliminary adjustment here. We've just got that snugged. That pin slides in and out freely. What you want to do here is you want to start at the bottom. You want to get it stuck on the tooth there. Don't let it slip off, and then bring the belt from the bottom. Get it captured on this lower pulley. You want to lock it in with a pair of like plastic vice grips here. And then you want to bring it over, lock it in on the top. You're going to use another set here, and then you're going to put your bearing in there, okay? That seems like it works out the best. It looks like our timing marks are still where they need to be. So now what we're going to do, you got to let this settle a little bit. You're supposed to let it sit for a minute or two. Check this, and it should move freely. And now this is like an initial adjustment. This may vary after you get your final adjustment, but initially it should slide in and out freely. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the Easy Tension app, and we're going to strum this belt here and this belt here, and we're going to come up with a frequency. We're going to add them together and come up with a frequency. I think it's around 200. I might be a little high. Let me go check that, and I'll get back to you. Because like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. It's been 6 months since I've done a belt, so I don't want to tell you the wrong frequency. I'll have to look it up. All right. So the torque on this, the bolt is 49 Newton meters for the bolt, the pulley bolt, and then the frequency that we're looking for is 190 to 220 hertz. All right. So the sum of the tension on two branches, which is the two longest branches on the belt, you want to like strum it and add them together, and you should come up with this frequency. All right, and you're also looking for a clearance here of 19 to 23 in this area right here, where you're right below where your bearing rides, where this piston, where your adjuster is, your tensioner is. There should be a gap there of 19 to 23 approximately. All right, when it's all said and done. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do right now. We're going to go ahead and look for this tension 190 to 220 right there. And then we're going to torque that bolt to 49 Newton meters or whatever the foot-pounds is. All right? So we've got our tension. We're around 120. Or, yeah, 220, I mean.
Total, yeah.
Total between the short and the long here. You add these together, 190 to 220 is what you're looking for in that range. And then you're looking for 19 millimeters, like the 2.2, 2.3, I think, on the clearance here. This still slides in and out freely. Okay, so we're good here. We're good there. So I can pull it out, put it back in. So we're good there. And we got this torque to 49 Newton meters.
That's right.
All right. So we're all done on this side, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the driver's side. All right. All right. We've got everything torqued, 49 Newton meters. I'll have to tell you the foot-pounds here later at the end of the description. Our pins fit nicely. We've got the frequency, 190 hertz to 220 hertz. So you got to add these two together while you're strumming it to come up with that. Looks good around here.
It's pretty blue.
Yes. So we're good, I guess. So now we're going to crank it through by hand a couple revolutions just to make sure we don't have any issues with anything, and make sure that our timing marks here and on the back of the motor line up, so we didn't jump any teeth anywhere. It doesn't look like it. It looks like I said, with the marks that we made are right on. So I don't think anything jumped while we're doing this, but we're gonna make sure. So that's what we're gonna do. So Mark's turning on the inside. So we're gonna go ahead and check these lines here. He's gonna check his marks in the front, and I'm gonna check the marks in the back here, and we'll see them come in together. All right.
Okay, Jeff, we should be getting closer.
All right. That's.
Hold on a little more. How I run there?
All right, that should be it. And it looks like they're lined up.
Pretty good there.
Yep.
You probably take a little more into it, but you tell me.
No, that's good there.
Yeah.
I think we blew some of our paper towels out with the compression. All right, all our lines are lined up here with the case. That's good. And I should go up front, and we should check our marks up front, and they should be lined up also.
You got your flashlight? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Good.
So there's our black mark right here that we made. It's lined up there. Lined up
I can make it line up
over there. This line here is up where it's supposed to be. And then the other one is also. Like I said, you can't see that because the valve covers are off. All right. So I think we're all done with the belts right now, as far as the timing belts. So we can go ahead and start putting that back together at this time. All right. Right. Like I said, we finished up installing the timing belts. At this point, we need to put the covers on, but there's other things we got to do before that. Since we've got the valve covers off, we probably should put those back on first, because really need to get in there, put the seals on for the valve covers before we put the cover on for the timing belts. And we can't put the other belts on because of the covers and everything. So we're going to hold off on that right now. We drained the oil the other day, if you watched on the video. So we're going to go ahead and change out the oil filter, which is right there. We've got a new one. Mark's getting it ready. He's got it oiled up. We just got to break that loose. Yeah, like I said, you're going to pre-oil the O-ring on that. And then I think we're going to go ahead and then probably reinstall the bumper and everything, because we're done with the transmission for right now. As far as servicing it to a limit, we will recheck that once we get the car up and running, and we'll check the level. But we can do that with the bumper back on. The only reason we had to take the bumper off is because of the finger screen, which is right here, and that's reinstalled. That doesn't need to come out anymore. So we're going to do that, and then, like I said, I got to clean up the valve covers. I've got to fit the seals in that, and so that's what we're going to do. You might have a question on what the torque is on these. It actually says it on the filter housing here. It says check for leaks and all that good stuff. And then 30 Newton meters. It says it right there. So that's the torque on this. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and install this. We've got our new filter installed. 30 Newton meters if you're wanting to torque it. So that's installed. So now we're going to go ahead and refit the rear bumper on there, because like I said, we're done with everything that we need to on that. Cleaned up the valve covers here. We've cleaned the seals up, but we got to trim these. So what I do is I take these bits here and I line the holes up just to make sure the seal is all lined up. And I want to have to trim these edges here, or these cutouts here. And then this piece you're going to retain. This goes in the center. Same thing with this one here. And I'm going to cut it to the contour of this valve cover. We're going to do that on both sides. We're going to do one at a time, but we're going to trim them up. So we've got our seals all cut into shape, sized up here, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and put some Hylamar on here. And then let this sit for a few minutes, and then we're going to stick it on the car. It just makes it easier, so you're not messing with it on the car side. So we're going to attach them to the valve cover here itself. And then we've got, don't forget your little O-rings here. Actually, the O-rings we will put on the car side because there is a groove that is on the head for the O-rings, so to make sure they fit. But I would put the other seals here on first, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Mark is applying Hylamar, and when you're using this stuff, you don't need very much of it at all. Just enough to coat the surface, and you can actually, it's going to be translucent where you can see through it. Not like other sealants. I like to use this because it's a little thinner and it holds up. I think it holds better than RTV. RTV is not as easily to work with. Plus, if you need to take this apart, this is a lot easier to remove in the future. Easy cleanup, where the RTV is kind of a pain. So that's why we use the Hylamar. This is made for aluminum surfaces, machined aluminum surfaces. So that's why we're using it. All right, so we've got this tied up, the fuel rail out of the way. We've got most of the items out of the way. We looked at the motor here. We made sure everything's clean. We actually pulled the rags out of the plug holes temporarily right now, so we can get the O-rings on there. We've got to set the O-rings on here first, so don't forget those. We're going to put a little Hylamar on there also, and then we're going to go ahead and install the valve cover then after that. Alright, so we've got the O-rings there in the center. We've got some Hylamar on them to hold them in place. What we ended up doing was we just coated the O-ring with Hylamar and just set it in the groove. So those are secure now. We're going to go ahead and cover the gasket. Mark's doing that right now. And then we'll be setting it on there. So, like I said, very thin. It doesn't need to be much. A little goes a long way on this. So we've got this all covered with Hylamar. I pay attention. I actually put a little extra in these corners because that's where they tend to leak when they do leak. So I put a little extra. Same thing down there. Like I said, thin coat. We're ready to go ahead and install this now on the car. So we're going to go ahead and we've got the other valve cover on the driver's side all cleaned up, ready to go back on. We've got the O-rings installed. We had to pull the cotton tissues in the center plugs for now because we don't want to get anything pinched in there. We do have the injector holes plugged up here, but we get everything cleaned up and lubricated, or not lubricated, sealed up with Hylamar. We did everything on the valve cover itself, like Mark's got it here. Here, we'll turn it around this way. So we got Hylamar and all the seals and everything in place. So just be careful when you're putting that in. Let me pull these out.
We'll get them on.
And we're ready to install. Just make sure these center ones don't fall out. All right. All right, so we've got both valve covers on now. I've got the end caps yet to do. I've got to trim the seal on the ends of the end caps there, but all our valve covers are on now. The fuel lines are hooked up. The fuel rail's all installed. So you don't forget to tighten your fuel lines and check those later on, right when you start it, because you don't want the exhaust manifolds to get hot, start a fire. So that might be one thing you might want to check when you start the car, and definitely check those fuel lines, okay? Yeah, those right there, all right? You want to check those on startup and make sure they're not leaking on either side. So we're actually going to end the video here for today. At this point, it's late, so we're going to continue on tomorrow and see how it goes. Thanks.